To some Texas football conversation. Speaking of conversation, there's a lot of folks talking about this article over at Athlon Sports. Now, they do this every year, but it holds different significance. Now, the Longhorns are heading to the SEC. They talk to SEC coaches who speak anonymously about their conference foes. And here's what they had to say about Texas. We'll get to Oklahoma, A&M, and Arkansas, too. Let's hear what they said. They said about Texas. So this was anonymously some SEC coach. They said this is not the views of Athlon Sports, but coaches they actually spoke to in the SEC. So here's the Texas quote. I think there's a tendency to look at league expansion from the viewpoint of the new programs having to acclimate to the league, but this might be the other way around. You can't compare Texas or Oklahoma, he said, to those A&M and Missouri programs that came in. They're going to pair the Bama wide receiver with their other 5 stars and probably won't miss out at that position. If you're looking for a weak spot, maybe it's the fact that you have the most famous name in quarterback history, Arch Manning, as a backup. That's a problem any staff would take. They instantly compared to the top programs in the league in terms of depth and talent and could definitely win the conference and be headed back to the playoff. Yeah, usually when on these anonymous coach things, there's like I don't know, kind of a stinging critique of some kind, or just downright criticism. That it is not the case for this one. As a matter of fact, it's very complimentary, saying Texas may end up coming into the SEC and being not only a contender, but the other schools may have to adapt to the way Texas brand of football. Kind of reminds me of that Peter Burns quote. Peter Burns, who does the SEC network stuff, and he was also hosting the pregame analysis for the Texas spring game. So he gets a chance to go behind the scenes, and he gets a chance to see these schools up close and personal. He goes to practice to see the SEC schools, and he's actually been to the Texas practice too. Not a lot of people can say they've been to both, that a Texas practice and to the a Georgia practice too. And remember, after seeing Texas during the spring, he said, I was just down in Austin and I handled their spring football game, and it looks every bit like the way Georgia looked in 2021, 2022, and 2023. Talking about the Georgia team that won, multiple national titles in that time span. He's saying Texas looks like that Georgia team. That's the guys on the outside looking in. The reason that these are good quotes for Longhorn fans, because we drink the Kool-Aid all the time. Good to have somebody who's on the outside looking at this Texas squad, and somebody who is plugged in, like Peter Burns say, no, it's the real deal. They look and they look like and play like and run like, hit like an SEC team, now an SEC team, but the standard for college football right now, which is Georgia football. Okay, so here are the other the rivals for Texas and what they said about the Texas rivals here. Here's what they said about the Aggies. It says here, Mike Elko was a fantastic hire. He has a ton of respect in this league and across the industry. He knows the program firsthand, and he's not going to worry about anything other than finding ways to win. It's going to be a night and day culture change at the head coaching position. There's a lot of turnover coming from Jimbo Fisher's NIL mercenary type culture to what Elko wants. Marcel Reed might be a better overall QB than Connor Wegman. Don't be shocked if he's the starter at some point this season by beating him out or by injury. They could be really scary on defense. That's not going to be a first-year head coach situation. Elko knows the personnel, and they're really talented. The program has a chance to shift its entire identity this offseason to hard-nosed, defensive-minded, all that stuff, which can really fit that place. That could be a hell of a place to play. So there you go about the Aggies. So they're pretty high on the Aggies too. Here's what they had to say about Oklahoma. They're starting to round out on defense to a unit you'd expect Brent Venables to be coaching at Clemson. That's the good news entering the SEC. The bad news is that they could be bad on the O-line if they can't pull some guys together late in the transfer portal. Oklahoma is a legit top program, but the secret to the SEC is the line play, and they won't be able to do what they want on offense if they can't protect against the average D-line in this league. If you're looking for a new offense, it won't be drastically different from Jeff Lebby, but they've got to run the ball more effectively than they did when he was there. Seth Luttrell is a made-to-order kind of OC, a really experienced guy who is going to scheme to fit. So that's what they said about Oklahoma. And yeah, I guess we should give Arkansas a little bit of respect and give theirs. Here's Arkansas. This is the hot seat job for the SEC heading into the season. Sam Pittman is a well-respected guy across the industry. You really feel for him having a guy like Petrino, who the fans and boosters probably think should be the head coach coming in underneath them. That's the SEC right there. If Petrino can get the quarterback, Taylon Green, ready, they might have a shot at a 500 year, but they have a shaky situation with their offensive line losses in the spring. Is 500 enough to keep Sam? The defensive line is their best unit probably, but they just don't have the overall defensive talent right now to compete in this league. All right, that's what the anonymous coaches in the SEC had to say about their conference